There's free speech and then there's hate speech. I like what's happening at Reddit. This is like the heart and soul of the internet community, and they have nailed it with the restrictions on content. They don't want content that incites violence, pornography, or bullying. Joining us now to discuss this, Tammy Bruce, Fox News political contributor, Lieutenant Steve Rogers, former FBI National Joint Terrorism Task Force senior officer, and Lisa Daftari, Fox News contributor. Guys, you know, it's not publicly traded. People outside of the know don't understand, but Reddit under a lot of fire within the internet community because they have drawn a line. And if you do anything that even they sense smacks of bullying, forget about terrorism, pornography, anything that's offensive, they will cut you out. What I don't understand, Tammy, is why can't Twitter do that? Why can't Facebook do that? Well,
look, I think what they're doing over at Reddit is actually reasonable. They're saying that you can not like a certain group, but you can't threaten to kill that certain group. And they'll ban you if you do that. But they won't ban you if, let's say, if you hate a certain group. They will put you in like a certain category. It's almost like at the 7-Eleven with pornography. It's behind the counter. You can't really see it. You have to ask for it. It's not going to come up in search engines or even in searches on the site. It's a reasonable precaution in this new world. Twitter could figure out a way to do that.
I think so.
Well, at the same time, you have functions on Twitter where you can block people yourself, you can mute them, you can clear up your own timeline.
But I think the problem, though, Steve, is that there are so many websites. I know at one point 46,000, perhaps 100,000 tweets a day from ISIS and ISIS-inspired groups. Why couldn't Twitter do this? Listen, if someone is accused of cyberbullying, Twitter will cut them out. They'll cut them off. Why can't you cut off the biggest, most deadly bullies on the planet?
Charles, Twitter can do it, but let's take it a step further. Allow the NSA to do their job. What we have seen through this administration and through the Justice Department, the hindrance of the NSA to conduct surveillances. Now, I know it's controversial, but my goodness, I want a country left to live in. And the only way we're going to do that is if we give the intelligence community the capabilities, not to spy on people, but my goodness, to monitor what's going on and then proceed from there.
Lisa, I want to ask you, ISIS, how did they become so savvy? All of a sudden, this group, this JV team in the middle of the desert gets all of these weapons. It gets this groundswell. It takes over giant swaths of lands in several different countries. And now they're more savvy on the internet than we are.
Right. And that's the problem. And you're asking the best question because they're taking old school jihadism and bringing Jihad 2.0, bringing this combination to the forefront. They've always been one step ahead of us. And that's where we have the problem of always playing catch up and being reactive instead of proactive, whether it's on the web, on the battlefield, or anywhere else. And the problem is, yes, I don't want my little cousins to be bullied on Twitter or on Facebook or on YouTube or wherever, or Instagram, wherever else it is. But at the same time, from a counterterrorism point of view, I want that information. I want that intel to be there. I did a story where I was doing what ISIS is selling antiquities.
Would it be better just to stop that message from getting to potential targets, or you think?
No, but there's a debate.
I don't think we're acting on this information enough.
Exactly.
To justify its existence.
Meaning there has to be a risk reward, right?
Right.
So they are using American platforms, and that's one side of the debate. Why allow these jihadi groups to use American platforms to recruit, to spread their propaganda? What do we gain from having them be on this? Yes, take them off, but also gain the intel while you're doing that.
But you know, a lot of people would say, I'm certainly my libertarian friends and a few others. Hey, the Constitution. If Judge Napolitano was here, First Amendment, freedom of speech, even Twitter and these other guys. But there is. Don't we draw a line, though, between freedom of speech and yelling fire in a crowded movie theater?
The First Amendment's about the government curtailing speech, right? Twitter is, as a company, private or publicly held, they can do what they want. The issue when it comes to, yes, using what's on Twitter or on social media is actually acting on it. We clearly don't. Now, Twitter kills ISIS accounts as often as they come up and when they can find them. The difference is, of course, is will they be compelled to do that? And if there's information...
It's not fair to say that we don't, because it's a needle in a haystack. There's so much out there. There have been a lot of plots that have been foiled since 9/11.
There's no doubt, Lisa.
I know that that's yours.
Charles, let me add this if I can.
I haven't heard of these plots that have been foiled through Twitter, though, and the NSA.
Oh, no, I haven't heard the Twitter, but perhaps we know a lot have been foiled.
Intel.
The judge, I love the judge. He's a great guy. I respect him. We're good friends. But I've got to share this with you. We are at war. And when you're at war,
do you junk the Constitution when you're at war?
We're not junking the Constitution. These search warrants, they have to go to FISA courts, and the courts have to approve of these warrants. But what we need to do is think big, and the big thing to think about is the survival of our country.
This is what I don't get, Lisa. We keep talking about, they move them. There's a bunch of things. We take them down, they put more up, and they're not. How does an American kid find these sites? That's what I don't get. We can't find them, but some kid in Akron, Ohio may stumble on it tonight.
That's their expertise. They know exactly how to appeal to this bracket.
Why can't we also have the same mind as potential targets in this country?
Because they're not a bunch of jihadis from that cave where Osama bin Laden was launching this attack. They actually recruit people out of film school, these engineers, people who know social media, and they know how to speak to their constituents. They have rap videos and they have Instagram accounts. The bottom line is this: whether they are able to link up with these young people or these young people are able to link up with them, that linkage is happening. These aren't lone wolves anymore.
Well, I don't. Yeah, to that point, Steve, we keep hearing that. The White House stressing yesterday, President Obama stressing, it's a lone gunman. We keep hearing, different ways of not really pinpointing what everyone knows. I don't know if it's the 800-pound gorilla, elephant in the room, or whatever you want to call it, but certainly that's frustrating a whole lot of people. Doesn't that tie the hands of law enforcement?
Charles, we are going to be engaged in a war unlike anything we've ever seen.
When are we going to start fighting that war?
Well, that's the point. We instead of fighting it, we're surrendering. You heard from these young ladies here that we are surrendering our capabilities to ISIS. We fight the war by getting intelligence information to the local cops and to the people, and that's how we win it.
All right, guys.